Animals are classified on different bases. These are levels of organization, body plan, symmetry, germ layers, coelom, segmentation, circulation, reproduction, body temperature, and notochord. Broad classification of kingdom Animalia based on common fundamental characters is shown in the following flowchart. Levels of organization. Animals are divided into three categories on the basis of their organization. Cellular level organization. The animal body is formed of loosely arranged cell aggregates, but the cells show no coordination to form tissues, for example, sponges. In them, division of labor occurs at cellular level. Tissue level organization. The animal body is formed of many cells which coordinate for the specific function and form four types of tissues, that is, epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissue. For example, coelentrates like hydra and ctenophores. Organ system organization. The body is multicellular and organs coordinate to form systems, each specialized for a specific function. For example, from roundworms to mammals. Body plan. The shape and size of the animals show great diversity, and on these bases, animals have three types of body plan. Cell aggregate plan. In this, the body is just an aggregate of cells with no coordination between them and little differentiation. For example, sponges. Blind sac plan. In this, multicellular animal has tissue or organ system organization, but there is incomplete alimentary canal in which single opening acts as both mouth for ingestion and anus for egestion. For example, flatworms like Fasciola hepatica or liver fluke. Tube within a tube plan. In this, multicellular animal has organ system organization and is with complete alimentary canal having two separate openings, mouth for ingestion at the anterior end and anus or cloacal aperture for egestion at the posterior end. It is again of two types, protostomus and deuterostomus. Protostomus. In this, blastopore of Archenteron of Gastrella lava forms mouth and is formed earlier than anus, for example, in roundworms. Deuterostomus. In this, blastopore of Gastrella forms anus, so anus is formed earlier than mouth. For example, in echinoderms and chordates. Symmetry. It is the arrangement of similar body parts on two sides of main axis of body. The symmetry can be categorized into three types. Asymmetry. When body cannot be divided in two similar parts from any direction. For example, snails. Radial symmetry. When body can be divided in two similar parts by any plane along central axis of body. For example, coelentrates. Bilateral symmetry. When body can be divided in similar parts by only one plane along longitudinal axis of body. For example, annelids. Germ layers. The layers of gastrula from which all the body organs are formed are called germ layers. On the basis of number of layers, the animals are divided into two categories. Diploblastic animals. In these animals, gastrula is with two layers, outer ectoderm and inner endoderm, so are called diploblastic animals. Between these germ layers, an undifferentiated, non-cellular and gelatinous mesoglia is present. For example, sponges, coelenteраtes and ctenophores. Triploblastic animals. In these animals, gastrula larva is with three germ layers, outer ectoderm, middle mesoderm and inner endoderm. So these are called triploblastic animals. For example, from flatworms to coelom. Coelom is the space between body wall and gut wall and is lined by mesoderm. It helps in classification of animals. Acoelomates. Among invertebrates up to flatworms, there is no coelom and they are called acoelomates. On the basis of nature of coelom, animals are divided into pseudocoelomates, hemocoelomates and eucoelomates. Pseudocoelomates. In these animals, coelom is present but is not lined by mesoderm, thus it is called pseudocoel or false coelom, so they are called pseudocoelomates. Mesodermal pouches are present between ectoderm and endoderm. For example, Ascalminthus or roundworms like Ascaris. Hemocoelomates. In these animals, true coelom is reduced and body cavity is a pseudocoel with blood and is called hemocoel, and animals are called hemocoelomates. For example, arthropods. Eucoelomates. In these animals, body cavity is lined by mesodermal peritoneal layers. These are parietal peritoneum on outer side and visceral peritoneum on inner side. It is called true coelom, so these are called true coelomate or eucoelomates. These are categorized into two types, schizocoelomates and enterocoelomates. Schizocoelomates. In these animals, body cavity is formed by splitting of mesoderm. For example, annelids. Enterocoelomates. In these animals, body cavity is formed from the enteron of gastrula. For example, echinoderms. Segmentation. Segmentation refers to the division of the body parts into segments or metamers. Segmentation can be studied under four categories. In roundworms and mollusks, there is no repetition of internal body parts. In annelids, arthropods and vertebrates, there is repetition of only internal body parts. So, only internal metamerism is found in them. In arthropods, metamerism is only external. In annelids, for example, earthworm, body is externally divided into segments called metamers or somites by grooves called annuli, and body cavity is internally divided by septa. External division corresponds to internal division and is called metameric segmentation. Circulatory system. Circulatory system transports the materials inside the body and is of two types. Open circulatory system. In this type, blood comes out of blood vessels in spaces called sinuses. It is found in arthropods. In this, blood flows at slow speed and low pressure. Body cavity, which is filled with blood and is called hemocoel. Color of blood depends upon pigments present in blood. closed circulatory system. In this type, blood remains inside the blood vessels, arteries, veins and capillaries. It is found in most of annelids and all vertebrates. In this, blood flows at faster speed and high pressure. Reproduction. Reproduction is a peculiar feature of all the living organisms and is essential for the survival and continuation of race. On the basis of nature of development, organisms either show oviparity or viviparity. The differences between them are listed in the given table. Body temperature. On the basis of body temperature, animals are divided into two categories: homeothermal, warm-blooded or endothermic animals. In this, body temperature is constant and does not change with the change in environmental temperature. For example, birds and mammal. Poikilothermal, cold-blooded or ectothermic animals. In this, body temperature is not constant and changes with change in environmental temperature. For example, amphibians and lizards. Notochord. Notochord is a solid and unjointed mesodermal rod of vacuolated cells present on dorsal side between alimentary canal and nervous system in some animals. It acts as primary axial skeleton. On the basis of presence or absence of notochord, animals are divided into two categories. Non-chordates. These animals lack notochord. For example,